Hey everyone, I'd just like to welcome you to the new look for Every Voter Wins. We're moving from the selections and end rigged elections into a new phase, which is how can we design a distributed and decentralized election system that's powered by us, by the people, within this governmental structure and idea within America and within Minnesota that has a lot of these characteristics, such as verifiability, full, thorough auditability, um, and that hands-on feel that intuitively and tangibly gives us uh, that check and that feeling that something is real and true and genuine. And so the focus is going to be less here about what has gone wrong, although we'll still have some of those election law or statute violations that have occurred here in Minnesota that have been documented by a lot of you here in this group, uh, but also shifting towards building a conversation with you and our city councils, our commissioner boards, um, as well as even our legislature, as certain legislators are realizing, hey, uh, this is a movement they want to be a part of in changing this conversation, so that ultimately elections, if we're going to have them, can be that reliable mechanism to change out the representatives that we're choosing through this process to make all of these decisions, whether it's legislative decisions or it's appointment decisions for all these departments uh, if a new governor comes in, or even you know such roles as being a partner to all of the election and county auditors throughout the state in the case of the Secretary of State. So the rules of the game are going to be discussed and looked at in detail because in part of changing the conversation, we do need to understand, hey, and comprehend what are the 500 pages of rules and statutes that are defining how things can go within Minnesota as pertaining to elections. What's the process? Um, how should things go all the way from absentee to vote tabulation to election night reporting and auditing, as well as um, what are the ways that we can rectify situations where there are mistakes made according to the rules as given. We do need to look at this because at one point amendments can start to be made, but at the same time, stepping away from the legislative aspect, we can look at, hey, what are the options locally while we wait for the legislature to get to a place where they can start to have those conversations? What are the things that we can do locally, such as move to paper rosters instead of these electronic poll books? What options might we have with regard to hand counting or hand counting during the post election review? What can we do with registration? Could our auditors ever get back control of their registration process that is currently centralized within the Secretary of State's statewide voter registration system? What about mail in ballots? What about forced absentee for 1,000 out of the 4,000 precincts? What about taking back ownership as a city from the county who I've outsourced my absentee processing to? These are some of the questions, and where we've seen success is really in educating councils around, for instance, the paper roster. What are the advantages of that versus an electronic roster? And can I choose to use a paper roster? Should I choose to use a paper roster? Well, it turns out that yes, you can, and yes, you should. And so we'll go into the details of that because there are cities that are following the lead of places like Oak Grove, where Mayor Weston Rolfe has been out front on the switch to paper rosters and face significant pushback from the county as well as the Secretary of State, in my opinion. We've seen Ramsey and also Anoka County say, hey, we'd like to move towards paper as well. And maybe we even have cities like Linwood do that as well. That's just within Anoka County. And that, by the way, is building upon about 8 cities that wanted to increase the number of precincts uh, that are included for their post-election review hand counts, including down ballot races. So that's just to give you a taste of these conversations that we are having, that any citizen advocate can have with their local town board or their city council, even their county commissioner board in a smaller county, if you have those relationships. And so what this is doing is shifting away from, hey, here's the things that are obviously wrong. Um, the law is obviously being violated in these areas, or there's huge wiggle room where something unfair can happen even legally, and shifting towards, hey, based upon the quite restricted options that local jurisdictions, town boards, city councils, county commissions um, have within their election administration, here's some things you can do. So this is a shift that I'm calling Every Voter Wins. It's part of the Every Voter Wins framework. It's moving from, hey, I don't feel great because my candidate lost, or I feel great because my candidate won for whatever race, to, hey, even if a number of the candidates that I vote for lose, I, as a voter, feel like I won because I can see at every step the process was fair, because I can verify it. And so it's developing a conversation that gets us towards that point where certain aspects of the debate and discussion around election process, the legal apparatus, um, the methods of remedies where errors are made, and whether we use paper or electronics or some combination, where all of this can be brought to a more simplified point where, hey, every voter feels like they won because at least we have that kind of process. So welcome to all of you. I'm really looking forward to this conversation growing and growing. We've been at it for a few years now already, but here we are in coming up in the middle of 2026 with midterms approaching. But this issue is really perennial and really important if we're to think about a state like Minnesota having success going forward. A lot of the fraud that we see, in my opinion, facilitated and covered up by our own government in all these different areas, all these different programs, a lot of that can begin to be chipped away at or even done away with completely if you have a reliable election system. So with that said, let's continue the great work, and look forward to seeing you in the articles and some of the videos that I'm being put out there right here on everyvoterwins.substack.com. With that said, hope you have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.